we need to talk. A while ago, MBT released a video talking about the Yu-Gi-Oh! 70 Limited list, its reasons as to why it currently exists, and why ultimately it doesn't or shouldn't really exist. But that's not why we're here. What I'm here to propose is something I personally think would benefit Yu-Gi-Oh! A whole lot. A tool that my main game, Card Fight Vanguard, uses. The choice restriction. Now, for those of you that don't play Vanguard, a choice restriction is a restriction where certain cards cannot be played together in the same deck. For example, a recent standard restriction was between the cards Demonic Stealth Dragon Shiranui Oboro and Demonic Deity King of Resurgence Drag Veda, which is the overtrigger for the Dragon Empire nation. Now, what this means is that if you have one of these cards in any number of copies in your deck, you cannot run the other one alongside it, whether that be in the ride deck or the main deck. Now, a number of you might already be thinking of certain cards that would immediately be able to put under such restrictions. One that comes to my mind, this format especially, are cards like Snake Eyes Poplar and Bonfire. Bonfire is a piece of generic pyro monster support that tutors any of the aforementioned type of monster directly into your hand, and Snake Eyes Poplar summons itself when it's at its hand. Yeah. While Bonfire is a super strong consistency tool, as all tutors tend to be for pyro-based strategies, when paired up with a Snake Eyes deck, it requires your opponent to open yet another point of interaction in their opening grip. Because of this specific interaction, combined with Snake Eyes variants being arguably the best thing you can be playing this format, what else are you supposed to do? Because of Konami TCG's printing philosophy for the cards we get, these rarity-bumped staples and engines are utilized to sell sets and supplemental products, leading to Konami hitting these decks and cards way too long past when they should. And it blows. Now, enter the choice restriction. Implementing a choice restriction system into Yu-Gi-Oh! Can only benefit both sides of this problem. Konami is able to keep these highly desired cards at these higher number of legal copies for longer periods of time, while also being able to adjust these problem interactions that plague the game's format after format. Card design philosophy aside, though, this will be a good step to help fixing the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh!'s Forbidden and Limited list. Now, there's also one more scenario that I'd like to go over. Yu-Gi-Oh! Being a game with only one format, with cards being legal forever, sans being put on the Forbidden and Limited list, leads to situations where a card that was fair and balanced a few years ago is completely broken open by newly released cards. Now, of course, the correct solution is to just implement rotation into Yu-Gi-Oh! Or, God forbid we do that, just try a little bit harder to design new cards with the 25 years of historic cards in mind. What the choice restriction is able to do in these cases is, once again, stem these problem interactions while Konami is able to evaluate if these newer cards need to be hit harder in subsequent ban lists. In conclusion, would implementing choice restrictions into Yu-Gi-Oh! Help the game? Well, in my opinion, yes, it would. I've shown just a couple of examples where this system can help, even a little bit. It's especially this format. What's really important to see is that Yu-Gi-Oh!'s issues right now go beyond potentially needing a new system to lower the power of decks. What we really need for the game are ground-up changes like rotation, like better R&D for cards. Things like this will affect Yu-Gi-Oh! For the better and in the long run.